Hi everyone, Mercury Blossom here. Today I'm going to talk about the importance of self love and why you should start loving yourself and start caring about yourself. I'm going to share my story. Ever since I was born, my mom left me and never told me anything about my father, and she had another family years later. As I got older, I confronted her about who my dad was, and she was always hostile and rude to me about it. And then, once in a while, she always had the audacity to blame me for her problems. She always yelled at me and expected me to worry about her problems, even though it was her mistake, even though she was at fault. Then, you know, then as I got into school, as I got into Menacing Valley, the school I used to go to, when I was in school, people always bullied me and people were always mean to me, and people always got me into trouble. Of course, I rebelled because I got sick and tired of people not caring about me, and I got tired of people always getting away with it. But then again, all the revenge is just it just led me to in school and out of school suspension and almost being expelled from school. So another thing I'm trying to explain is that people used to call me all kinds of names. People were always messed up and rude with me, and I was called every name in the book. But bitch is like the most current one. Everybody's, I don't know what it is. Everybody just calls me a bitch. I do nothing wrong to anybody. I mean, I guess I rebel when, you're just pissing me off. So, then I was molested by my neighbor and raped several times by my ex-husband. I had an ex-boyfriend who always yelled at me and was always abusive with me. I had friends when I got out of Menacing Valley, when I was in high school. When I went to a different high school, people were still rude to me, and people were still, downright nasty and just downright snotty, downright snobbish and stuff. And I'll get into more in-depth in detail later, but when I was in a marriage with my ex, all he did was use me for sex and money, and always made fun of me for not being like him and having a high school diploma. And he was always violent with me. He was always violently, emotionally, and verbally and sexually and mentally abusive with me. But he knew how to get away with it with the cops and stuff. And I deal with rude people all the time. I guess that's the way life is. And the only reason why I went out with my ex before is because I didn't know what he was like. until I moved in with him. It's like one of those relationships you don't know. But there are some red flags. But, you know, I had... My mom didn't want to come to my graduation. And, you know, she was yelling at me about how crappy her life was and expecting me to give her sympathy for that, even though it was a huge milestone of my life. So, she's expecting me to feel sorry for her, even though it was the biggest day of my life. The point I'm trying to say is this. Well, yeah, one more thing I forgot to add was my siblings treat me like shit, and sometimes most of my family treats me like shit too. So, the point is to keep close to your heart. Keep close to yourself. Learn to be best friends with yourself, because if you expect love and care from other people, they're not going to give it to you. They're not going to care about you. And they say that. They're like, I don't give a shit about you. I don't care about you. I don't give a shit about you and your feelings. I don't give a shit about you and your life. And those are the kind of people I would avoid like a plague. And I'm not begging for sympathy. I'm just saying, you know, it took me years of my life, almost my whole life, to realize that nobody deserves my sympathy. Nobody deserves, you know, my love and my care. Except for me. And yeah, I'm a single mother because, you know, my ex got me pregnant. So he just wanted me for the money, and, you know, put me down because I made him feel stupid. And, you know, just today it kind of boils down to, like, I had this guy yell at me for... I accidentally bumped into him, and yes, drove all the way down until we got into a parking lot. That was my bad. But the way he treated me, the way he talked down to me, wasn't right. Calling me stupid over and over again. You're stupid, you're stupid, you're a bitch, you stupid bitch. Okay. I'm not going... Okay, and he was really acting psychotic about it. My point is this. Don't go out with somebody who's going to treat you like that. Don't go out with somebody who's going to take their problems out on you. Don't go out with somebody who's going to treat you like shit. Okay, learn to love yourself. Alright. I know a lot of you want to go back to your exes, but that's not the answer. The answer is self-love. You put yourself first. Give yourself the life you know you deserve. Okay? Nobody's going to love you the way you love yourself. If you expect other people to love you, you're always going to get disappointed, because they're going to eventually betray you, or instantly. Eventually or instantly, they're still going to betray you. And the world isn't idealistic like we want it to be. It's more of a cutthroat way of our life. It's sad the way the world is. But it is what it is. That's why you gotta learn to love yourself and appreciate who you are. Because nobody else is gonna risk their life for you. Nobody is going to... Nobody's going to care about you the way you care about you. So, Learn to get along with yourself. Learn to be yourself. Learn to get to know yourself and what you want. Don't always put everybody else on a pedestal. Put yourself on there. Sit yourself at your own pedestal and feel good about yourself, but don't get narcissistic. You know, be like, yeah, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. But that's just the way I am. And another point I want to make is that, you know, and what I'm starting to teach my daughter and what I'm starting to teach my kid is that don't get married. And I know she doesn't want to get married, and don't get married to somebody who treats you like shit. Don't fall in love with somebody who's going to disappoint you. Don't open yourself up to somebody who's going to hate you and betray you. Close your heart off to the world, but keep it open to yourself. Keep it open to yourself. Give yourself the love and the care that you give to others to yourself. Stop trying to make everybody else love you. Don't be desperate for their love. Make yourself happy. Life's too short to be a people pleaser. People pleasers end up becoming doormats. And they become victims. Eventually become more victims. Don't be a victim. Learn to love yourself. Be compassionate. And help yourself through whatever loneliness you have. Treat yourself to something. There are a lot of single people who go out there and they take themselves to places like Disney World. They work and save their money so they can treat themselves later on. Don't expect everybody else to be nice to you. Be nice to yourself. You won't be disappointed. When you learn to love yourself, and when you learn not to care about what others think or how they feel about you, that's self-respect. I lost a lot of my self-esteem and self-respect when I let others dictate how I should feel about myself. So, that's how you have the courage to be like, I'm not taking shit from you. That's what that means. What it means is always have the courage not to tolerate others' meanness. Always be strong enough to love yourself. And I always say this in my videos. I'm emotionally independent. I don't need a man to love me. I love myself. I don't love anybody. I love myself. I don't care. I'm not going to tolerate anybody else's crap. I'm going to make myself happy, and I'm responsible for my own happiness. And that's the way you should think. Be responsible for your own happiness. Take responsibility for yourself and be happy. And I'll get more into depth about it later. I mean, I just wanted to get my message out there about self-love. And I'll see you guys again soon. So, I'm not really good with goodbyes, but have a good one. Mercury Blossom out.